Okay, so let's get started. Thank you everyone for introducing yourself in the chat box. I would like to welcome you all to our first session of Tech Talk series that we have considered for this year. First, I would like to also thank you, all of you, for being a member of Project Professionals Network. We've had some community events in the past, but not in an organized way. So this year we decided to have a new series called Tech Talks, not TED Talks um, or TikToks, but Tech Talks or Technology Talks. The intent is to invite leaders in technology companies to come and present on a topic related to technology. As you know, this is the time that we all hear a lot about various technologies, and sometimes we get confused. We hear scattered things, and then we thought that we should start a conversation with technology providers that are linked to project controls, project management, know more about them, and then bring them to our community so they can present on a topic of interest. And hopefully that helps you better to know what is there, what's coming. Because some of these companies are startup companies, they have great products that they're developing, and some of these products in near future can disrupt the market, can even replace the older and bigger type of products because they are more user friendly. They have considered many other things, and that's why I'm very excited. One of the things that we have in mind for this year is to develop a technology landscape to see which technologies are out there for project professionals and how you can leverage them in what you do with your projects for more success. I'm very excited to have this first session with Kamran Page, CEO and founder of Clearstory. Let me just give you a little bit background about Kamran, and then we take it from there. So, as I mentioned, Kamran is the founder and CEO of Clearstory. He spent 10 years at DevCon, one of the nation's largest design-build general contractors, before starting Clearstory with the mission to help the entire construction industry get extra work processed and closed faster to reduce risk for all stakeholders. And that's why we are here, because Kamran is going to talk about how to reduce change order risk for all stakeholders. Kamran holds a degree in construction management from Cal Poly SLO and is LEED AP certified. So welcome, Kamran. Before Kamran start, I want you to let you know that this is an open type of conversation, meaning Kamran presents, but if you have a question, you can raise your hand and he will let you know when he accepts the question. So raise your hand. We want you to be active during the session. So when you have a question and you raise your hand, you can show your video, you can have your audio, or you may use the chat box, but we prefer the audio video for better interaction. So with this brief introduction, Kamran, welcome. Thank you very much for accepting to have this session with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it. I was just looking at the chat, seeing all the people from all over the world who are listening in. So that's exciting. I will say we are primarily a US based company, but we'd love to hear perspectives from other markets and how things are different, and hopefully learn from you guys as well. So looking forward to it. Should I go ahead and kick us off?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Let me go full screen here. All right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, awesome. And like you said, feel free to chat in questions as I go, or feel free to raise your hand and ask away. I will carve out time at the end so we can have an open discussion with any questions you guys have. And I probably won't take the full hour either, as well. So I'm hearing a little back. All right. So I'm unmuted now. So what we're going to cover today is, how to reduce change order risk for all stakeholders. And when I say all stakeholders, I mean specialty contractors, trade contractors who are performing the work, general contractors, prime contractors, and then the owners as well. So everyone in the supply chain who deals with the change order process, our product is geared to work towards. So we'll cover that as we jump into it today. And what we'll kind of go through is I'll give a quick introduction on myself, our company. Like Kamran mentioned, we are a startup company. We're about 5.5 years old, so we've been around a little while, but in the grand scheme of things, we're a relatively new thing to the industry. We'll talk about change order risk and kind of how we see it manifest, and I think we'll share our point of view on the root cause of where change order issues actually arise. We'll give an overview on how we solve that problem, and then I'll walk you through. I won't do a full product demo today. We're happy to set a product demo up if you guys want, but I will show you some product visuals just so you can understand how the different workflows tie together. And then, like I said, we'll carve out time for Q&A. This probably won't go the full hour, so you'll have plenty of time for questions. So quick overview on myself. Like Kamran already mentioned, I studied construction management in college. I've been in construction since I was 17. I apprenticed for a commercial wood framing company in Sacramento. But after that, I worked for 9 years at DevCon Construction, which is the largest general contractor in Silicon Valley, and primarily does design build commercial projects. And below are some of the projects I worked on. As you can imagine, they all had a lot of change orders, and that's where I got the idea and the vision for Clearstory. So quick company overview. We were founded in 2018. Born out of my firsthand experience, but a lot of the people in the company are from the industry, either from my network or even from customers who have used our software and decided to join our company. We have over 3,000 companies on the platform. There's a free version of our software, as this is a network model, so companies invite each other to the software. So we have a lot of companies who are using either the paid version or the free version of our software. And we work with companies in every single trade vertical. So we work with drywall contractors, concrete contractors, painting contractors, all the way up from some of the largest in the country down to small mom and pop companies. And that was really the idea behind the business, is that if we wanted to solve this challenge for the industry, it had to work for all the stakeholders. So we went to great lengths to make sure the product worked for large general contractors, large specialty contractors, owners, but then all the way down to the SMB side of our industry, which happens to also work on many of the largest projects in the world. So let me jump into kind of our point of view. And simply put, the way we see it is, as change orders accumulate on projects unresolved, risk goes up for all stakeholders. So our whole goal for our customers in the industry is to help teams capture change orders faster, but then also close and resolve them faster with the workflows and the tools that we offered. And sort of why we see this graph on the right happening, and we hear about it more and more from our customers, and it's something I experienced, is the way projects are delivered today and the sheer complexity of projects today has changed dramatically over the last 20 years. With 3D design tools, it's given the capability of IDP and design build delivery models. And those tools are great because you can quickly iterate and change things. But in the contracted world, whenever you make a quick design change using, AutoCAD or Revit, it triggers a whole bunch of workflows for the owner, the general contractor, and the specialty contractor. And with the tool set available to work through change orders today, we see this happening a lot, where change orders accumulate on projects, which causes a number of problems. And change orders don't just come from changes in design methods. They come from all the traditional ways as well, which are probably going to be part of construction forever. Unforeseen conditions, trade damage, owners changing their mind, schedules needed to be accelerated, and obviously dozens of more reasons that change orders manifest. So if we all want the outcome of closing change orders faster, and we know they're going to come, why is it hard to actually accomplish that? And that's what we call, and we've kind of coined the term, the change order gap. And if you're working in construction, everyone has a project level financial tool where they keep track of their budget. And part of that tool is called change order management, where you manage changes internally to your budget. The challenge, of course, is that if every stakeholder has their own financial tool, how do we know what the other counterparty is forecasting inside their private financial software? And that's what we call the change order gap. So most companies today solve the change order gap by asking the counterparty to keep a log of every change order that's been sent. So if you're a general contractor, that means requesting updated logs from 20, 30, 40 subcontractors once a month, just to understand what's been sent via email and make sure you haven't missed anything. Of course, those logs, the second they're sent, they're static and they're out of date, and none of the files that are associated with them are attached to the log. So you have to save them somewhere, go back and find them. And then if you're an owner, you're keeping an owner change order log with your general contractor. But beyond just the tracking log, how do you keep track of the review correspondence and the back and forth between companies? And that's largely done today between sort of two tools. One is PDF markup tools where you can redline the change order requests and ask questions, or just simply an email thread where you are sending questions back and forth via email to work through revisions and questions on a change order request. And then the other work streams are tracking field directed extra work. So if you're working overtime, or there's trade damage or paint touch up, or you're fixing an unforeseen condition, often the best tool to track the added scope is on a time and material basis, extra work authorization, time material ticket. And traditionally, and still today, this by most companies is done with triplicate carbon copy paper. So the trade contractor performs the extra work, they track their labor, material, equipment, the general contractor signs it, and then that document goes off to both offices for pricing. And then there's a whole change order review process that happens behind it. And as we'll dig in, all of these processes, as changes accumulate in projects, further increase that potential for having a lot of outstanding risk. And how that manifests is, again, everyone has their own project financial software where they're trying to forecast their project's budget. If you're a general contractor or trade contractor, you're trying to forecast your profit. If you're an owner, you're trying to forecast your budget so you can make value-added decisions. But of course, that forecast is only as good as the data that's been put into it. And often, a lot of the change order gap is living below the surface and not reflected in that forecast. So again, the whole goal of Clearstory is to help companies close that gap. And this is kind of what it looks like between companies. So just to reiterate, there might be many specialty contractors on a project. There's typically one general contractor, and there's typically one owner. And up and down the supply chain, you need to share change order information and get it approved. But it's challenging because everyone's using their own financial tools. So I'll keep going here. This is where Clearstory steps in. So we are a real-time cloud-based change order communication tool that allows any company to use us with their counterparty. So a specialty contractor can use our suite of tools to help communicate changes upstream to their general contractor. General contractors can mandate the use of our software, where they actually write us into their contract requirements and state no change order is valid until it's posted on Clearstory. And then the general contractor can also use it upstream with their owner. And I'll get into each of the workflows on how different stakeholders use our software in a moment. But the key thing is just to understand that regardless of what financial software you're using internally, Clearstory can be the communication layer between stakeholders to make sure everyone knows what change order risk is outstanding. And there's really three common workflows that are work streams that we really focus on here at Clearstory. The first is pricing design changes. So addendums, bulletins, ASIs, engineering changes. When those occur, how do you get them out to the contractors to get updated pricing, validate that pricing, and get it presented to the owner? Tracking field directed extra work. Anything that's being tracked on a time and materials basis, again, typically is done with triplicate carbon copy paper. We offer a suite of tools to capture that work almost effortlessly. And then the third one is which is what we call contractor initiated changes. So if you're a general contractor and one of your trade partners has a claim or submits a change order request based on a change in the submittal response or an RFI response, where is that change order supposed to land? How do you know that you've captured it? And so again, with Clearstory, the contract expectation is that they would post that to Clearstory so both parties have it clearly logged and there's never any confusion on what's outstanding. And by tracking and streamlining all three of these in the same place, a general contractor and an owner can understand their entire risk at any given moment and compare that to what they're forecasting internally. So the first one, pricing design changes, what we typically see with most of our customers and what I lived myself was usually 2 weeks is the rule of thumb for when cost impacts, once they're sent out, should be due back from a specialty contractor. But in reality, we see this being 6 weeks or often much longer to actually get all the pricing back. And simply the way it works is if the architect produces a design change, that design change usually goes to the owner for some sort of review or validation. But then the main thing is they want to understand the price. So those documents then go to the general contractor. General contractor sends those out to all 30 specialty contractors. And you have to wait for each one to respond with a price or respond that say there's no cost impact for this change. And so the challenge, of course, is it goes through a series of steps of sending it out, reviewing the rates, validating the scope, sending comments back to the specialty contractors, waiting for them to make revisions, entering the costs into your financial software, then bundling all those costs up, sending it to the owner, doing the owner review, and then taking it back downstream. And within any one design change, there could be dozens of different versions of change order requests back and forth. And on even medium scale projects, there could be hundreds of design changes. So this could be like a mini bid every time a design changes, and it presents a ton of work for the general contractor and also a ton of risk. And so this is a big thing that we focus on at Clearstory, and I'll walk you through our workflow on this in just a minute. The other one is tracking field directed extra work, which we've done a bunch of research on and found that in the US, the average turnaround time from work directed out on site to actually seeing the cost of that work is about 24 days on average. And that means that some companies turn around the price very fast within a week or so, but some companies take much longer than 24 days. And as a general contractor and an owner, that's just simply a blind spot on work you've directed, but you don't understand the cost for. And in many scenarios, that 24 days can go to 60 or 90 or 180 days. And then you can wind up with a dispute on your hand for work that was validly done by the trade partner. And again, this is the process that it goes through today. So signed T&M tag out on the job site by the general contractor. This gets driven to the office, scanned. They manually type up a change order request, applying the rates. They email that to the general contractor. They update their change order log. And then there's a back and forth that happens via email. And so again, with our tools, which I'll show you in a minute, we look to reduce this cycle time down to less than a day. And sometimes even minutes after the work has been performed, they can actually price it. And that's great for the specialty contractor because they can protect their revenue and help improve their own cash flow. But it's actually great for the general contractor because they can understand their risk in real time and make much faster decisions than they could otherwise. So I'll keep jumping ahead here. And this is kind of how it all comes together for a general contractor. So with Clearstory, in the middle, the way that they use our software is they make it a project requirement that in order for a change order request to be valid, it has to be uploaded into Clearstory. That's the most basic way to use our software. And the goal is that any response from a pricing exercise or any change order request generated from a T&M ticket or any contractor initiated changes that they find on their own all get uploaded into Clearstory under each subcontractor's contract. And as a general contractor, whenever you want to see a change order log, you simply filter for that trade's log and it'll be updated in real time. And then we offer a bunch of integrations with other ERP and project financial solutions where with the click of a button, you can push change order requests into those systems. But this philosophy around really capturing risk in these three areas handles all the different root causes and places that change orders can generate from. So I'll quickly walk you guys through a workflow of how Clearstory works for a general contractor. Then I'll jump to the specialty contractor version, just so you guys can get sort of an in-depth view of how we attempt to solve the change order gap. And so it all starts with our cloud-based change order log. And this updates in real time based on one party sending a change order request to the other. So there's no data entry, there's no manual updating. It's generated in real time. And by sending a change order request from a specialty contractor to the general contractor, it's updated in real time for both parties. So there's complete alignment and transparency on what's outstanding. And then from there, you can use our collaboration tools to actually review and approve that change order request. So again, as a general contractor, part of what you're doing for your client is validating change order requests and the costs associated. And with our tools, you can do real-time messaging. So you have a question for the specialty contractor, you can send them a note, ask them to either make a change or clarify something. We have a suite of built-in PDF markup tools. So if you want to redline something or cloud something or add a comment, we track all those red lines and comments with every change order request. We have an activity feed, so you can see every comment, the date things were submitted, who it was sent to, automatically across every change order request. And then as you mark things, revise and resubmit, and the trade partner submits a revision, we keep a complete version history of every change order request, and it can all be exported out of our system. So if you're a general contractor and you want to show your client or your owner the review process you went through on a change order request, you can export that, and we have an audit log that shows all the history of that change order request. So you can show where you started and ultimately where you finished. And you can do all of that without really changing anything you're doing today. And that's one of the key things about Clearstory is we have a bunch of other workflows I'll show in a second, but to use just this basic workflow, all you do is upload a PDF and we automatically log it and give teams these collaboration tools. So the change management on getting our software stood up is almost zero, and companies can get started in one session with our customer success team. And then the next part is either a lot of companies use our software unintegrated. They use it as just to replace their static change order log, and then they keep the exact same workflow they have today in their project financial software. But we also offer a number of integration with ERPs, and we also have an open API that companies can build integrations on top of. The key thing with our integration is if you're a general contractor, as you receive a change order request in our software, with a click of a button, you can push it into a PCO or PCI or a change event in your financial software. And we can tell you which ones you've received that you either have or have not pushed into your system of record. So what that does is it gives you the ability when you're looking at your forecast in your system of record, you can say, how many change order requests have I received that are not yet in my forecast? And you can instantly tell whether or not that forecast is complete, which is a really simple but powerful change to how many companies are doing things today. So again, you can get all of that with very little change to how you're doing things today. But on top of that, we offer workflows that many companies will wind up adopting as well. The first is our change notification tool for pricing exercises. So you have a design change, a bulletin, an addendum, and you need to send that out to trade contractors to respond to. You create a change notification, you attach the files that you want to send and get a quote for. You set a deadline of when the pricing is due, and then you can send it out to all 30, 40, 50 subcontractors on the project. They get alert that there's a pricing due. They get updated and reminded that the pricing is out there. And they can respond with either no cost impact, or they can submit a change order request outlining the cost of that change. And every response they have automatically gets added to our change order log, where they can then pull it into that same collaboration and workflow process. And then the final one is field directed extra work. So a lot of general contractors will make our software a requirement. Again, the tool is built, primarily for commercial construction at first, but the use cases have been broadened pretty wide. A lot of companies will also use our software for pure T&M projects where the whole thing is done on T&M. And the way it works, there's a couple different ways to implement it. The most basic version is make us a project requirement where instead of doing out of contract work on T&M on carbon copy paper, the subcontractor must use our mobile app. The mobile app is incredibly intuitive, user-friendly. They can track their labor, material, equipment. They can take photos of their work. But the big power of it is whenever they send something for signature, it's automatically logged in the general contractor's T&M log. So every T&M ticket that's been signed by a superintendent or awaiting signature is automatically logged and always visible. And then if the subcontractor has imported their labor, material, equipment rates into our software, with the click of a button, they can price the change order request and send it to the general contractor. And so what we see with our customers is if they're doing out of contract work out on a job site, they can create the T&M ticket right there. Superintendent can sign it either on the spot on the device, or they can sign it remote via email, just like DocuSign. But the second it's signed, it's logged back in the subcontractor's office. They can click a button and it'll automatically price the change order request with the approved rates, and they can send it to the general contractor within minutes. So some of the workflows that we've seen companies adopt is on T&M projects, they'll have every subcontractor track a daily T&M ticket. At the end of the week, they'll grab 5 of those tickets, click a button, price it, and submit their costs for that week, every Friday. And so we've seen a number of use cases where they're using it not just for out of contract work, but for more broad-based T&M scope. And with that in mind, I'll actually just kind of jump over to the specialty contractor workflow, which is similar to the general contractor workflow. And actually, before I do that, I will jump back and just mention one thing. I do suspect there are some project owners, developers on the call. And the way our software works for general contractors is almost identical to how it would work for an owner. The key difference is that you would typically be using it with one, your prime general contractor on the project. But we've also seen owners use it with their geotech or their architect to track design changes, or a number of other ways to use it. But just know that all these tools are, multi-use in our software. We even have subcontractors who use it like a general contractor downstream with their sub-tier vendors as well. So for specialty contractors, the tool is designed to be a standalone use tool. So they can use it if the general contractor has not adopted our software. And by customer count, not by revenue or anything like that, but 70% of our customers are actually specialty contractors. And so they really love our software because it gives them the ability to communicate with their general contractors the way their general contractors want to be communicated with. Again, because I'm a former general contractor, I selfishly built it the way that I want my trade partners to send me change order requests. So the way it works is same concept, everything. The easiest way to get started is don't change anything. Instead of emailing your general contractor a PDF, you upload and send it through Clearstory. We automatically generate a cloud-based change order log that you can send to a general contractor with the click of a button. And it's a cloud-based link. So it's a live change order log. All the files you've sent are stored with it. All the history is there. So your general contractor is never surprised or out of date on anything. And again, the easiest way to start using that is don't change anything. Just instead of emailing the PDF, you upload it through our software. So again, we can get a subcontractor stood up on our software, in a single working session. And the power of that is, again, the shareable link they can send to their general contractor. And what's so great about that is, as a specialty contractor, you don't always know if your GC has everything, right? You're kind of operating in the dark. You're hoping they've seen your change order log. You're hoping they're tracking everything. But with this shareable link, you can confidently know that they have everything because everything is there. And what that gives you the ability to do is, with some of the reporting in our software, but also with the reporting in their ERP or financial software, they can have much more confident forecasts and worry less about margin erosion at the end of a project where they think a bunch of change orders are going to get approved, and then it turns out they don't. And again, you can get started with all of that without changing anything, especially contractors are doing today. But I will say the most adopted tool that we have by specialty contractors is our T&M mobile app. T&M tickets largely is whenever a specialty contractor does T&M, we hear that they typically don't make money on the process because the manual nature of it, the slowness of it, all the things I covered, they're just simply trying to recoup their cost or maybe make their fee, but often they wind up having to negotiate down because their documentation's bad or it takes too long to process it. So again, with our mobile app, they can present professionally, they can take photographs of their work, they can easily document labor, material, equipment. And the best part is they can keep their general contractor up to date in real time with a live T&M log of every T&M ticket that is out there. And like I mentioned before, if the specialty contractors upload their labor rates, material rates, equipment rates into our system, they can automatically price T&M tickets. They can also create change order requests from scratch. But oftentimes, we like it to be flexible, right? So if it's a large estimated change order request, they may grab their estimating tool to price that up. They can upload that into our software. If it's a T&M ticket that they're looking to just apply labor, material, equipment rates to, it's also very easy to just automatically price that in our software. So that's the specialty contractor workflow. There's much more to dive in there. What I'll cover next is just a couple just quick screenshots so you guys can get a feel for our software and how it compares to how a lot of things are done today. This is obviously a very simple screenshot, but this is what most field-directed extra work looks like in the industry today. Most companies, you still do it on triplicate carbon copy paper. With our mobile app, which works on iPhone, iPad, Android, most mobile devices, you can professionally generate a T&M ticket and have it signed out on the job site, and share it with your general contractor, instantly via email. Or if they're using Clearstory, they can log in and see what's been sent to them. So just the quality of documentation is different. You can also see that there are images attached to this T&M ticket to really, before and after pictures are great to really showcase the work that was done. And then back in our software, either party can log in and see what's been sent to them. So if you're a specialty contractor, you can see every T&M ticket you've sent across every single project you work on, and you can filter down into an individual project. We give them a labor hour summary up top, a status summary over here, and then down here, you can see a list of every single T&M ticket that's outstanding. You can view it, you can check the activity feed, a bunch of stuff. And both the general contractor and trade partner can look at a similar log in their own view. For change order requests, again, the core of our product is our cloud-based change order request log. And again, this is very similar to the industry, traditional change order logs that get shared back and forth via email. Key difference is that it's cloud-based and it updates in real time whenever one of the two parties submits a revision, changes the status, asks a question. These columns can be customized to whatever view you want to see. The status over here, is based on the statuses in our system that can tie out to your ERP statuses. And I'll jump into a second, but you can view every single change order request within the software and use our markup tools as well. But again, the key thing is that as a general contractor, there is no data entry. Just by your trade partner sending you a change order request, this log gets automatically updated. So you're not manually updating a log. You're not taking their change order logs, transcribing them to Excel. This is real time and it's always up to date. And then this is our change order review page. So basically, whenever you click onto a change order request from that log, it jumps you into the change order review page where you can see some of the details over here on the left. You can see, our suite of cloud-based or PDF markup tools up top. And then on the left or the right-hand side, there is our activity feed, which streamlines everything that's happened on that change order request. So when it was created, who it was sent to, when the status changed, any questions. And then as you grab our markup tools and, if the tax rate is wrong, for example, you can add a note and call it out and it'll log all those activity over here on the right. then you can either create a revision if you're a specialty contractor, or if you're a general contractor, you can mark it, revise and resubmit, or a number of different approval statuses. Then the next one is our change notifications. So again, if you're a general contractor, if you have a project with a lot of design changes, it can be really challenging to understand what's in flight, what's outstanding. And with our software, you can quickly see, this is a screenshot from one of my demo accounts, so a lot of these are past due. But what you can see here is how many contractors it was sent to, how many have responded, when things are coming up on the due date, when they're past due, what you're estimating the cost to be, what the actual cost is versus the projected cost. And then as you click into it, you can see the detail around every contractor you sent it to. Have they opened the email? Have they downloaded the files? What's my estimate compared to the cost estimate? And then you can quickly resend these to the companies that haven't responded or are coming up on the due date. And then, I'm sure many of you use tools like Procore or CMIC or Autodesk, and we do offer a number of integrations where we can push change order requests and things like that back into those systems. And this is an example of the push to Procore button, where if you click it, you can automatically push all these line items to a Procore change event, and they'll stay up to date as things change in Clearstory. So I think this is actually my last slide here, but did want to talk about how we kind of think about the ROI and the impact our software can have. There's kind of like three areas that we would really focus in on. And the first is just simply team productivity. Having been a project manager for many years, change orders can be a huge productivity suck for your team. And a lot of it isn't actually the value added work of reviewing the change order request. A lot of it is just the manual nature of organizing things, saving them to a file folder, chasing down pricing, asking for updated logs. And so again, with our software, we automate so many of those manual steps that we see a pretty dramatic time savings for team members. And this is true for specialty contractors, general contractors, and owners. The next is what I would say is the reducing the risk of fee erosion. So the more proactive you can be on what change orders are outstanding and making sure your budget and your profit is assuming and counting for those change orders, the more you can reduce the risk of fee erosion. The next is just reducing the risk of disputes and things like that. Again, with our tool, it's really designed for trust and transparency between stakeholders. So giving yourself the ability to be proactive, real time on change order requests just really reduces the risk of confusion between companies on projects that can later lead to disputes and things like that. And then additionally, for specialty contractors, cash flow can really be constrained with change order requests. So if you're a specialty contractor performing out of contract work, particularly if it's on T&M, you're spending money for those change order requests. And oftentimes the company's own processing time is what eats into a lot of the cash flow constraints that they can run into. But so does the review and approval process on the back end. And so again, with our tool, working through those faster can help specialty contractors increase or improve their own cash flow. And then there's the harder to quantify benefits, which is just, enhancing relationships across the industry, improving communication, adding transparency, and things like that. And with that, I'll kind of jump, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I haven't really been looking at the the chat, but if anyone has anything, I'm happy to answer. I see one that says, does the software integrate with Procore RFIs, manpower tracking, or is it meant to be a separate program? And yeah, Procore is one of our partners. So we offer a number of integrations, both on the file sharing front. So like you can pull Procore files into Clearstory, send those out for pricing exercises, things like that. But then we also integrate with Procore financials. So whenever you receive a change order request or create one in our software, you can instantly push it to a change event as well. Can we generate S curves and charts inside Clearstory? So right now we have an open API. So a lot of our customers will build those types of charts with Power BI and things like that. We do have some pre-built reporting in our software. We don't have an S curve because we don't have quite all the data to necessarily generate the S curve. But if we sat with you, we could look at it and show you either how you can get the data from our system, or go from there.
Kamran, there is also a question. I don't know if it's a question or comment. I could not see any control accounts related to CORs in the COR log generated.
Yeah, I mean, the screenshots were from an account we have, so I'd be happy to. I'm not totally sure what difference between a control accounts related to CORs would look like, but I'd be happy to dive deeper and walk through that with somebody.
Mm.
Or if they want to clarify, I'm happy to learn more.
Yeah. Any other questions? There is one here that says, what is S-care? I don't know. Maybe it just means S-curve. So related to previous question. So thank you very much. Any other
Rosamond, did
questions
you have a
anyone
question?
has about the COR and the way that Clearstory really helps organizations reduce risk? So if you have any question, let us know.
It looks like Rosamond has a question.
Yeah.
I think you're on mute, Rosamond, if you want to.
Yeah, Rosamond, anyone who wants also to ask with audio.
What is Esker?
Oh, I think I just mumbled it. It's a S curve. It's the question that Joshua asked in the chat. Joshua, frankly, could probably better explain it than I could.
Yeah, that's S-curve.
S-curve. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
You're already familiar with S-curve.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Kamran, I have a question. You mentioned owners can use it, general contractors, specialty contractors. Now, let's say an owner has Clearstory installed. Not installed really, I think it's cloud, so they have access to Clearstory. They can assign their general contractors, and then general contractors also can assign or share that with their subcontractors, so everyone's really transparent about the change order from any side of this whole project.
Yeah, we have a whole playbook on how to implement and mandate our software. The most basic way for a general contractor or an owner is to say, hey, general contractor, instead of emailing me change order requests or having us reviewed at the OAC meeting, just upload your change order request to Clearstory. And that's like the simplest way. Then the owner gets a real-time log of all the change order requests. They can use our review and markup tools, get a lot of value out of it that way. Some owners that we talk to want to take it a step further, where they want to mandate the use of our change order request and T&M templates on the projects. Because a lot of owners that we talk to have cover sheets that they want every subcontractor to fill out to, break out the change order request in certain ways. We have the templates in our software. We have some levels of customization, and a lot of times our template is what they're looking for. So again, it's whatever you want to write into the contract requirements, but you can mandate the use of our change order request templates. The power of that as an owner is it makes change order review much easier because everything is consistently documented. So you're looking at the same thing across all the trade contractors.
Yeah.
And then if there are audit costs or, an audit process that happens on the back end, again, a lot of that has been, pre-validated with the use of templates and things like that. Also, getting that information to the auditor becomes much easier because it's all stored in the same place. You can send them a link or bulk download all the documents.
Very good. Thank you. There's a question from Kaylin. You can see in the chat.
Yeah, I'm just reading the questions. Can you pull from purchasers that have not been linked to the project? Um, Kaylin, if you want, I can email you some samples of our. I don't really have anything to pull up like this second, but I can shoot you an email with, and happy to hop on a call with you as well. It looks like you have some good detailed questions here. Packing slips, is there an option to separate billable and non-billable that can be used for field management? I think there is, but I'd probably have to learn a little more on specifically how you guys are doing it, and then we could show you how you could do that in our system.
Sure, that'd be great. Thank you.
And Kaylin, are you a specialty contractor or general contractor?
Specialty.
Okay, what trade?
Piping fabrication and installation.
Got it. Yep. Underground piping or like process piping?
Process piping. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, we should talk. We work with many similar companies.
Very good. Any other questions? There is one from Joseph. What's the cost of the software, or how is it built?
Our pricing is a user pricing. So we have a small platform fee to get the software stood up. It does depend if you're a specialty contractor, general contractor, or owner. But the basic is that it's a user model. If you're a specialty contractor and you don't have to invite your general contractor, but you can. The general contractor gets free access to the software. If you're a general contractor and you have a license to our software, the subcontractors that you invite get a limited free access as well. That's the kind of core pricing. To give you like the detailed price, we'd have to hop on a call and just learn a little bit more.
Yeah. Kamran, is there any limit to the number of logs or the number of projects when someone has an account, or is there like different type of levels of account in case someone has several projects and then several contractors, and there could be change orders to a certain limit? So is there any limit to that?
No, the only it's only user based. And so if it's a TI contractor that does, interiors where one project manager maybe oversees 5 or 6 projects, their single license would cover them on multiple projects. If it's, we work with many, multi-billion-dollar projects where the team has, 100 or 200, users. So it's just, different on different scales of projects. The only difference that we have in our licensing is we have a basic version, which is basically the free version that people get invited to. We have a standard license, which covers a pretty wide range of our functionality for both specialty contractors and general contractors. And then we have a professional license that is kind of geared towards larger scale, like enterprise customers. And that's things like single sign-on, API access.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some of our integrations as well are bundled in that.
Very good. So if people want to get to know more and learn about the software more, how do they get in touch with your team? And is there any trial for our members to kind of test the product?
Yeah, definitely. Easiest way. I mean, I think somewhere in this presentation I have my email, but feel free to share it with the people who joined. I'm happy to route you to the right person, or even join the call as well. Or you go to our website. You can simply book a demo. You can also watch some product tour videos if you want to self-explore. And the way we do, you asked about pilots. So the way we do pilots is we do offer a free pilot. It's usually time bound to about 4 weeks, and so we can create some sample projects and things like that. And that's offered for both specialty contractors and general contractors. So that gives you the ability to try the software out for free, and then make a decision if you want to move ahead with it.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that. Before we end, is there any other questions, anything that anyone wants to ask? Okay, so Claire says, thank you for providing this basic training. I look more into this as I'm expanding my technical knowledge. Great. Yeah, that's exactly the intent for these tech talks, to bring technology leaders into our community event, introduce the software, the tool, the technology, and then you take it from there and see how it can fit into your projects and help you. As Kamran mentioned, it can help with the productivity, efficiency. It can help with reducing risks and fee erosion and reducing risk. Really, what originally I saw really this can definitely help is with claims avoidance, because we know change orders, when they pile up and they're not taken care of, and some of the stakeholders are not aware of those, then that would lead to claims, and then you know what happens after a claim comes. So there would be delay analysis and lots of things after that. So we want to really avoid claims, and that's why change management is critical. And with change management, we need to have a good way of storing and managing change orders, and this definitely software helps with that. So thank you very much, Kamran. Any final thoughts, Kamran, before we end the
Well,
session?
since you now sparked my thinking on it, is you know, claims are obviously something that we would all want to avoid, and I think the best way to, often what I've seen in my career with claims is that the reason why the claim stacks up and becomes a big issue is that it wasn't addressed proactively, right? And so the faster you can see things as they're happening, ideally, you know, especially if it's a claim related to T&M work or something that the price is building out on the job site, if you can see it and have the conversation and course correct before you get to the end of the claim work, it gives you the ability to you know, make much more proactive and beneficial decisions, and that's really what we're trying to drive with the tool. So just figured I would add that. Appreciate all the comments back on the chat. The two things that I would just ask the audience, if you guys do want to see it, again, please reach out to me, Kamran. I know you'll hopefully share my contact information with everyone. And then for any of the folks that are outside of the US, we do work with some companies outside the US, but we're really trying to learn more ourselves about nuances with other markets. So if there is anybody from you know, other markets that wants to connect, and we'd love to hear your feedback and see how we could fit with any differences in your workflows.
Very good. Yes, there is a question whether we share the video recording. We may share it for a limited time in the community, because we want people to really join us live rather than waiting for the recording, but we can share it for a little while. And definitely I'll put Kamran's contact information so you can reach out and request for a demo, and then he can connect you with the right people. One final thing, Kamran, you mentioned that Clearstory is right now serving United States. Now, if there are people, I know that we have an international community. If there is interest from our international audience outside of United States, still they can use the product. I don't know, like when you said that you serve United States, it means that no one can access the product outside of the United States, or something else?
They can use it. It just depends on language translation and currency, you know, things like that in the software. We have seen some pretty creative ways of companies using it in other markets. And again, you know, we will be, you know, going outside of the US for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What we're trying to learn is what markets to go after first, and you know what the pain points are, you know, how, you know, can we add value, things like that. So again, we're eager to learn more. But no, there is no structural limit to somebody using it outside the US.
Very good. And then you mentioned that this is more for construction, but the way I see it, every project, no matter in what industry, they deal with change orders. Now, is there any specific reason? I know, like when you start a company, you want to serve a specific industry, but I think people still can use it outside of construction, right?
Yeah, I mean, the way we say it is, you know, anybody dealing with a change order request can use, you know, our software. And obviously, the IT industry deals with change order requests, engineering, you know, a bunch of other spaces. A lot of the the workflows, in the system are definitely geared towards construction nomenclature and processes that may differ from other industries.
Mhm.
And so again, for us, it's all about learning what those differences are and understanding if it's the right fit. But we started in commercial construction. It's definitely like our bread and butter. But we work with a number of, we work a lot in the heavy civil industry. We work a lot in, we're starting to work more and more in the oil and gas industry. So we're seeing the use cases in the very, closely related markets. But we've talked to a number of folks as well. So no, there is anybody who wants to check it out who's dealing with change orders can definitely give it a try.
Great, thank you very much. This final note from Joseph: is there a possibility for customization if used in the United Arab Emirates and a need for that? So I think you kind of answered that to some extent.
Yeah, we'd love to learn what those customizations would need to be and see what the opportunity is and definitely talk.
Yeah, so Joseph, you can reach out to Kamran and then talk further on that. Thank you very much. We are going to end this session. It was a great session. I think this product and the software can help a lot of people involved in projects, especially when it comes to change orders and reducing risks for all stakeholders. It was a great way of showing how the product works. You didn't jump into a demo that sometimes confusing for people. You showed workflows and how these things are interconnected. Thank you very much for doing that. And we look forward to having you in future type of activities that we have. If people have questions, I will connect them with you. I also put your email so people can reach out to you, Kamran. Thank you very much. And everyone, have a great day. Thanks for attending.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.